Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to ASS 298. I am Dr. Sanson, and today we're looking at behaviour in social and cultural contexts. Essentially, what influences us to behave in certain ways, why we do what we do, how do we interpret that behaviour, and how do we understand the behaviour of others? How do we attribute that behaviour to other outside environmental, cultural, social influences? Today we're going to look at social psychology. So social psychology. Social cognition. Cognition meaning our beliefs, our cognitive processes, our knowledge. And social, how does it influence our behaviour? And we're talking about our own behaviour. We're talking about other people's behaviour. How do we behave in groups? And how does that influence us? We're going to look at attribution. Attribution is all about how we explain behaviour. How do we explain our behaviour? We know what we're thinking, don't we? We know what we're feeling. But how do we explain other people's behaviour when we don't know what they're thinking or feeling? How do we attribute other people's behaviour to the social environment in which they're in? What about our attitudes? Our attitudes are our beliefs. How do we form our attitudes? And if attitudes can be formed, they can be changed. And the way in which we change our attitude is through the art of persuasion. Ever persuaded somebody to do something they don't want to do? Have you been persuaded to do something you don't want to do? How has somebody gone about doing that? So we're going to look at persuasion. What about obedience? Why do people obey others? Now today we're going to talk a lot about conformity. We're going to talk about compliance. And we're going to talk about obedience. What is the difference between the three? And we're going to look at some really fascinating research into obedience and conformity. But how do you behave when you're on your own? And how is that different from being in a group? If you had a lecture with me on your own, you would behave very differently from those guys who are chatting at the back. We're going to talk about how you behave in groups. And what about the way in which you think about ideas, concepts, stereotypes in groups? Does that lead to types of prejudice in groups and out groups? So we're going to look at some research on that. Group conflicts. Are you better than others when we're talking about groups? And what influences those ideas and those feelings? So that is the run-through for today. So social psychology, the scientific study of the research on individuals. What leads people to behave in a certain way? What influences your thoughts? What influences your feelings, your beliefs, even your intentions and your goals? So social psychology is all about the interactions in that social context, the environment and the culture in which we are in. So the scientific study of the influences of our behaviour within the social environment. Just stop and think for a minute. Who has the biggest influence on your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviours? Is it your peer group? Is it your parents? Is it your partner? Is it your best friend? And how have they changed since you've been at university? Are your parents having less and less of an influence over how you dress, how you see the world? So social psychology is a scientific study of the way in which our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviours are influenced by others. But these can be real, but they can also be imagined, and we'll talk about this when we look at research later in the lecture. Two fundamental aspects, the social side and the cognitive side. So the social side, what social aspects of our environment influence our thoughts and our feelings? How are these influenced by other people? How many of you belong to a group here at PolyU? Was that one of the first things you did in Freshers Week? Did you find people who you thought would fit in with who you are, your personality? Did you belong and go and join a sporting group, a religious group, a political group? What groups do you belong to? What about personal relationships? How have they influenced you? Have you had a partner who made you feel uncomfortable and made you try something you didn't want to do? How do they influence your thoughts and your feelings? How do they make you happy, make you sad? What about our parents and our culture? Now, when we looked at personality, we looked at some really interesting research on the influence of our parents, the influence of our peers surrounding us. And as we get older, as we age, our parents have less and less of an influence over our thoughts and our feelings and how we behave. And our friends, our peer group, have more and more of an influence. What about living in Hong Kong? How many of you were born and bred in Hong Kong, and how many of you have moved here? I've only been living in Hong Kong for 5 years, although I've been in Asia for 10. How much is that influencing my behaviour? If you now move to the UK, how does that influence your behaviour, your thoughts, your feelings? And what about pressure from others? We've all been under peer pressure. Maybe to try smoking, to try vaping, to try faster. How do these interactions that we have with people around us influence us? But what about the cognitive side of things? Our social cognitions? How are memories, our perceptions, our thoughts, our emotions influence our behaviour? Do you conform to your group that you're in, your religious group, your sporting group? How about obeying people in society? Do you break the law, or do you obey the law? And why do you do it? If somebody's in a uniform, are you more likely to do what they ask you to do just because they're wearing a uniform? So what about obedience? How does that influence our thoughts, our emotions? What about attributions? The way in which we explain behaviour. How is that connected to our memories, our emotions? And we'll go on to talk about that in a minute. Also our attitudes, our beliefs about the world. How do we form those beliefs? Are they to do with past experiences that we remember? Have you tried smoking? Do you have a memory of smoking that you had a positive or a negative outcome of? Does that influence your attitude towards smoking? And also behaviour in groups. We'll talk a lot about that. Have you been influenced by others? Have you changed your opinion to fit in with the group? Do you now conform to what is expected of you because you are in that group? So the influences around us, they can be through people, and they can be through our cognitions, our beliefs, our thoughts, our emotions. Okay, social compliance. Now you're going to have to watch the rest of that to find out if you can push somebody to their death. So today we are talking about why do people do what they do, and how do we understand the influences of other people's behaviour. How many times have you done what somebody has asked you to do, even though it makes you feel uncomfortable? Now, through asking that man in the cafe to put the phone by the coffee machine, to go and ask the lady to come to the phone, to just step outside with the baby, by asking him to do more and more little things, that grows into stealing a baby. So why do we do it? Why do we comply? Why do we do unthinkable tasks? Just because other people have asked us to. So social cognition. Our beliefs and our behaviours. And the way in which we understand this is through attribution and attitude. Now, our attributions are all about explaining why we do what we do. They explain our behaviour. How do we attribute that behaviour to the outside influences of society and culture? Our attitudes are all about our beliefs, and these are usually positive or negative. So, social cognition, an area of social psychology concerned with the influences on our thoughts, our memories, our perceptions, and our beliefs. Now, we know what we're thinking. We know what we're feeling. But how do we understand those thoughts and those emotions in other people? Two important topics: attribution and attitude. And this allows us to understand what other people are thinking and why they do what they do. Attribution is all about finding explanations for your own behaviour, what causes you to do something, but it also allows us to understand why other people do what they do. It understands what is the cause behind other people's behaviour. Now, an attitude is a belief about people, objects, events, activities. What do you think of the chief executive of Hong Kong? What do you think about abortion? Usually positive or negative. We'll look about attitudes in a minute. Our attitudes to smoking and vaping. Now, attribution has a theory. We attribute the cause of behaviour to either the situation, external attribution, or the dispositional attribution, our personality traits. And this can be internal. So some of you who were late for class this morning, you can attribute that behaviour to the weather. external attribution. Or you can attribute it to yourself, your personality traits. You're always late for class. So we can attribute our behaviour, what influences our behaviour, either the situation or because of who we are. And it's really important to understand these because they allow us to understand an individual's behaviour, why they do what they do, but also it allows us to predict behaviour, how somebody will behave in the future. And we do a lot of attribution when we talk about advertising. And we'll talk a lot about that when we look at conditioning. We'll bring that up again today. So our internal attributions is our personalities, our feelings. Why did you choose this subject? Because you love psychology and you wanted to know more about it. Or you chose this subject because of external attributions, the environment. PolyU stipulates that actually it's a compulsory subject and you have to be here. So social attribution. What influences you? What is the ascribed cause of your behaviour, external or internal? And it's all about our perceptions of the event, our perceptions of the environment, the social side, and what is going on within us. Now, Harold Kelly, in 1973, way before even I was born, developed this idea of the covariation model. We attribute our behaviour to either external environment or our internal attributions, our self-perceptions. Now there are three different factors that are involved in understanding someone's behaviour, how we explain it. Do other people behave this way? Does the person always behave this way under similar circumstances? Does the person ever behave this way in different situations? So let's say you've got a friend who is failing class. If she usually struggles in school with most subjects and has a hard time in classes that most other people find easy, would probably conclude that she was a poor student. However, if she's failing this class, but many other students are failing this class as well, but she actually does really well in her other subjects, we might conclude that actually it's the instructor that is not particularly good. It's not her, it's the environment. And Kelly came up with 3 criteria: consensus, consistency, and distinctiveness. So what is the general consensus? Is it all of you who are late for class, or is it just you? Consistency. Are you late every single time for class? Or is it just this time? What about distinctiveness? Do you always respond in the same way towards different situations? Are you late for class, but are you also late to meet your friends? What about pizza, fast food? What's the general consensus? We love pizza. Most of us would like pizza. The general consensus is pizza's good. Consistency. You like pizza as a kid, you like pizza as a teenager, you like pizza as an adult. You're consistently enjoying the same type of food. And distinctiveness. Do you like all fast food, or is it just pizza? Do you also like McDonald's as well as pizza? And the way in which you can attribute behaviour, either internally or externally, will depend on the level of consensus, consistency, and distinctiveness. So if your friend friend raves about films, you may consider his response compared to others. What's the general consensus? Did everybody like the film, or was it just him? Does your friend rave about all genres of films, or does he just like action movies? And is he consistent about the way in which he raves about films? Does he love all films, or does he sometimes not like films? So the combination is important, and this will lead us to either an internal attribution or an external attribution. So if we have low consensus, so not many people behave like this, high consistency, you nearly always behave like this, and low distinctiveness, you behave like this most of the time, then you will have an internal attribution. For an external attribution, you have a high consensus. Most people behave like this. A low consistency. You don't always behave like this. And a high distinctiveness. You don't always behave like this in all situations. So depending on the contribution of consensus, consistency and distinctiveness will be dependent on whether you make an internal attribution, it's to do with yourself, your personality traits, or an external attribution if it's to do with the environment. So let's have a look at I'm not sure I've got that. Hold on. See if this works. No, that's not going to work. We'll come back to that later. There's a good video there. You can look up the link later on. However, we can make errors in our judgment. And we call these the fundamental attribution error. We may be incorrect in the way in which we attribute that behaviour to either internal or external influences. When we explain somebody else's behaviour, because we don't know what they're thinking, we don't know what they're feeling, we can overestimate the personality factors, and we can underestimate the external environment, the influences of the situation. So if I'm driving to follow you, and somebody is driving next to me and cuts me up, it is always their fault. I will overestimate their personality trait. It is their fault why they cut me up. It was not the environment. If I'm driving and I cut somebody else up, it's always the environment. It's obviously never my fault. So we can make these fundamental attribution errors. When we're talking about somebody else's behaviour, we can overestimate their personality and underestimate the influence of the situation. So people rely on different sources of information to judge their own behaviour and that of others. We know what we're thinking, we can look inside ourselves, we call this introspection, and we can assess our own actions, our own thoughts, our feelings. But when we're looking at the behaviours of others, we can only interpret what they are thinking, what they are feeling, and why they did what they did, through looking at their external overt behaviour. Now there are two other factors factors that are important in social cognition and attribution, and this is the self-serving bias and the just world hypothesis. Now, the self-serving bias is all about when you have a positive outcome, you got an A in your reflection journal, you are more likely to attribute that to your personality traits, your internal attributions. If you got a D on your reflective journal, you're more likely to attribute that to external factors. It's my fault because I marked it. It's the instructor's fault. They didn't like what I did. It wasn't your writing. So if we have a positive outcome, we think it's our fault. Yeah, we are the ones who made it happen. But if we have a negative outcome, it is the external environment. And this is all to do with protecting our self-esteem, to make us feel better. If we get promoted, if you get that job, it's because of you. And that makes us feel good. If you fail a subject, that's because the instructor was that. It's protecting our self-esteem. And this is what we call the self-serving bias. We can also believe that the world is just. The world is fair. In English, we have a phrase of saying, what goes around comes around. What goes around comes around. The world is fair. People get what they deserve. If you break the law, you deserve to go and have your punishment. Might be you go to prison, might be that you have to do community service. We like to blame the victim. Well, that person wasn't very good. They got what they deserve. If they break the law, that is what should happen. We call this the just world hypothesis. We need to believe that the world is fair and that if you do something wrong, you get punished, and if you are good, you get rewarded. What goes around comes around. If you do a good deed, you get rewarded. If you do something bad, you get punished. But of course, an understanding of other people's behaviour and the influence of that behaviour has a lot to do with our culture. Now, we talked about individualistic cultures before. Individualistic cultures of the USA, the UK, Europe. Collectivist cultures of you guys, mainland China, Korea, Japan. And this does have an influence on the way in which we attribute people's behaviour. I am from an individualistic culture. I am more likely to demonstrate a fundamental attribution error. I blame somebody cutting me up when I'm driving on their personality traits. I'm more likely to believe in the self-serving bias, that I got my job promotion because I was good. So individualistic cultures, they're talking about personal goals, independence, whereas this doesn't happen so much in collectivist societies. So the way in which you attribute behaviour, the way in which you explain behaviour from the influence of others will depend on what culture you are from as well. Okay, I'm going to run through attitudes and then we will have a quick break. So our attitudes are beliefs about groups, people, activities, and these are usually positive or negative. What's your attitude to drinking alcohol? Positive or negative? What about smoking? Positive or negative? What about cyclists being on the roads? Positive or negative? Our attitudes, we can explain them explicitly, attitudes that you are aware of, attitudes you make a conscious decision about. What do you think of psychology? What do you think of black people, white people, green people, aliens? You will have an attitude, positive, negative. What do you think of fat people, thin people, tall people, short people? You have an attitude. You are consciously aware. But we can also have attitudes that are implicit. And these are attitudes you're not aware of. And if we've got time at the end, Harvard University are doing some research on implicit attitudes. And I don't think we'll have time in the lecture, but I've given you the link to look at your implicit attitudes, attitudes you are not aware of. And these are quite strong. You have an automatic, unintentional, negative feeling towards all sorts of individuals. Heterosexual, homosexual, racist, obesity. It's amazing how many attitudes you have that you are not aware of. So the difference between explicit and implicit attitudes you are consciously aware of, and implicit attitudes that you are not aware of. Now, I'd like you to look at your attitude, your explicit attitude you're cognitively aware of, towards smoking and vaping. It should take you about 4 minutes. If you've got a QR code scanner, scan it. What is your attitude? It's all anonymous. You do not have to link it to anything. But I want to know what your attitudes are towards smoking and vaping. You cannot in any way be linked to the answers. Okay, well done. Nursing students, I am proud of you. Okay, I'll leave that open. Now, attitudes are important because they influence our judgment. They influence our judgment and they allow us to change the way in which we behave in the future. If we can change our attitudes, we can be persuaded to believe in different things. So attitudes are important because they influence our judgments, and this is reflected in our behaviour. And if we can form attitudes, we can change them. Now, 3 major components of how we form an attitude. This is important, you need to remember this. Components of formation of attitudes: a cognitive aspect, an emotional aspect, an affective, and a behavioural component as well. And these 3 will link to our behaviour. So what's your attitude towards smoking? You might form the attitude through your knowledge. Smoking is bad for you. Smoking can ruin your lungs. It's not socially acceptable. So your knowledge of smoking will contribute towards your attitude. Your emotions. You might not like the smell. You might know somebody who's died from lung cancer. The affective component is part of your attitude formation. And also your behavioural reaction. Now, your behaviour should reflect your cognitive component, your thought process, and your affective components. If this is out of balance, if your thought process and your behaviour behaviour are out of line, we call this cognitive dissonance. When your thoughts and your behaviours do not match. So major components of attitude formation, your knowledge about the subject, your emotions, your affective part of the subject, and then your behaviours should respond to the first two components. So you know that recycling is good for the environment, you have knowledge about that, it makes you feel good, your emotions connected to the environment, you want to do good for the planet, therefore your behaviour should reflect it, and you should put everything in the recycling bins around poly-U. Now, how many of you have been persuaded to do something you didn't want to do? If attitude can be formed, they can be changed, and the way in which we change attitude is through persuasion. How many of you have bought products because of an advertisement? You wanted to be like that role model. You wanted to emulate their look. Persuasion. They have to be credible, likeable, attractive, in stimulating our attitude to change. Now, persuasion, it's all based on some form of communication. And there are four major categories to the way in which we can be persuaded. When you think back to your first lecture on critical thinking, this is part of persuasion. Aspects of the communication. Where is this information coming from? Is it from a journal article that you're reading? Is it based on empirical research? Or is it because your mates told you? Where is this source of information coming from? Is it credible? Is the message logical? Is it emotional? How many adverts on TV do we see that have an emotional component to try and persuade us to buy a particular product? What about the audience? Who are you trying to persuade? Are you persuading children? Adults? Do they have a degree? Do they not have a degree? What culture are they from? Does that influence the way in which we persuade individuals? Are you persuading them over the radio, over the TV? Is it face to face? All these will influence our attitude change, how you persuade somebody to do something. And theories of attitude change come from learning. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have finished your reflective journals. How many of you wrote it on classical conditioning? The vast majority of you will have. I have started reading some of them, well done. The majority of you have submitted, and we'll talk about that in the discussions at the end. But learning theory is all about attitude change, that association, understanding, and that is how advertising works. The art of persuasion, attitude change. And this cognitive dissonance, very important concept within psychology. Our beliefs and our behaviours have to match. If our belief and our behaviour doesn't match, this leads to an imbalance. As humans, we like an equilibrium. There's no point asking a homophobic to work with homosexuals, a Catholic priest to do a seminar on abortion. Your belief and your behaviour need to match for an equilibrium. If they do not match, we call this cognitive dissonance. Okay, I'm going to give you a short little video, and then we will go on to have a break. Okay, let's talk about roles and roles. Okay, so I'm going to talk about three very that have been done in psychology. And these are going to help us understand three different components. Compliance. See, just complied. Being very quiet. Compliance. Doing what somebody else asks. Quiet. Conformity. You conform to society's rules. And obedience. Doing what you are told by an authority figure. So compliance, doing what you're asked, conformity to society's rules, and obedience, doing what you're told by an authority figure. Now I'm going to show you an experiment. Why is it not working? Hello. And this was a really famous experiment. And it raised an awful lot of questions on ethics within psychology. Now, it's called Milgram's obedience study. And what he was interested in is, can you take an ordinary individual, one of these men, who has no idea what is happening, and just like we saw in the push, get him to deliver electric shocks that started off quite low but increased to a level where you could actually kill somebody. So what he did was took these two guys, pretended to give them the roles, but actually what he did was there was a teacher and a student. The student was part of the experiment. The student knew what was going on and wasn't actually being electrocuted. The teacher believed that he was actually electrocuting the students every time they got one of the words wrong. And this experiment wasn't really about whether the individual person was aggressive or not. It was about whether they would follow orders. Whether they would follow orders when it went against their moral judgment, their moral ethics. Now, every single participant in this study administered some form of electric shock to the participants who didn't actually get an electric shock but thought they were getting an electric shock. 80% of these individuals actually obeyed to the fullest extent by giving these individuals an electric shock above and beyond what was humanly good. Even though they may have said, I don't want to participate anymore, I feel uncomfortable, they still continued to obey orders. So this is the actual extract from one of the studies. You can see one of them is being asked to be a teacher, the other is being asked to be the participant. Now this wasn't randomly allocated. Milgram knew who the teacher and who the student were. And this has been replicated all over the world. So why do we follow orders? Why do we do things that go against our moral beliefs, our moral ethics? Just because somebody is wearing a white coat. Now this experiment is incredibly controversial, and in today's world it wouldn't be allowed to happen. But we did learn a lot from it. And this brings up the whole point of ethics. And I'm sure you are aware of ethics within the medical world. How far can researchers go to further our understanding without harming others? And now in psychology and in medicine, we have to all fill out ethical forms to make sure that we're not actually harming individuals. What I will say is a 1-year follow-up of the participants those who were the teachers, those who were administering what they thought to be an electric shock, did not show any signs of trauma or harm, even though they were administering electric shocks that could actually, if it was in reality, you could have killed that individual. So what makes us do things that are above and beyond what we would normally do just because we are following orders? Now, how many of you have seen the Stanford prison experiment movie? This is a movie based on some psychology research. It was done by Philip Zimbardo in 1973. Stanford prison experiment. So within Stanford University, they got a group of students who they did randomly allocate into being prison guards and prisoners. They were randomly allocated. Now those who were assigned the role of prisoner physically became distressed and helpless. Those who were randomly assigned to the role of guards, once they put on that uniform, even though their personality was typically nice, they became empowered. And this study had to be shut down within 5 days because of the brutality that was happening in the experiments. Now I'm going to show you experiments, and one that has had amazing influence over future research. And what it suggested that our aggression, our roles, come from wearing those uniforms. The power that we have comes from taking on that persona. And it looked at how we behave in groups, and we'll come on to that in a minute. Why do we do the things we do, and how is that influenced by others, predominantly when we are part of a group? So why do we follow orders? Why do we conform? Why do we obey? And a lot of it is to do with entrapment. The foot in the door technique. It's a gradual process. Just like that man stealing the baby. Just like the electrocution, putting up that voltage by 15 volts. You start off small, you ask somebody to do one small thing, and it can turn into bigger and bigger asks. I had a friend who was going on holiday who said, "Can you just walk past my house and make sure it's okay while I'm away?" Oh, yeah, sure. But when you're walking past, can you just make sure the plants are alright and water them? Oh, yeah, okay. But, well, if you're walking past and you're watching past, you just go in and feed my cat. It starts off with small asks, which you comply to, and then you end up saying, "Yeah, of course I'll feed your cat." You're like, "Well, how on earth did I get to say yes to that?" So it starts off with baby steps and turns into bigger and bigger asks. Okay, so conformity. Just going to take that out. Conformity, the most common and persuasive form of social influence. Without it, society would be chaotic. We need some conformity in order to have a culture, a society that will function, conform to the rules. Remember that obedience is all about influence by authority figures, and compliance is influenced by peers. Conformity is all about social influence and conforming to doing things that you are asked to do under the laws of society. So we conform And this can be conscious. You're consciously aware of standing up and sitting down and following orders. You're consciously aware of following orders within society. It might be through overt social pressures. How many of you, I know most of you don't smoke because you've done that, but how many of you have tried things because of the social pressures, conforming to a particular group? Pressure, peer pressure. But sometimes it can be not so obvious. Sometimes our conformity can be unconscious influences. How many of you have got friends who listen to different types of music, different genres of music, and actually you started off not particularly liking it, and actually towards a couple of months, maybe a year later, you don't actually mind their type of music. You have conformed. Dress. Your friends may dress differently to you. Have you changed the way you dress unconsciously? Yeah, you might just conform to the rules of that group without even really knowing it. So it doesn't actually require the presence of others. You might conform because of knowledge. May cause you to vote in a particular way. We call these society norms. We conform in order to fit in. And we'll talk about group conformity. There are two major motivations into why we conform, why we comply with those groups. Normative influences, social acceptance. We don't want to be rejected, so therefore we conform to the group. We might start smoking because all our friends smoke. We might start vaping. One of the reasons why Hong Kong has banned vaping is because they don't want it to be a social norm. They don't want to normalise that behaviour. Yeah? So normative influences. We don't want social rejection. We want to fit in. We also conform by informational influences. How many times have we met somebody at a party and started talking to them, and we formed an instant attitude? We like them or we don't like them. And this can just be based on somebody's looks. But we can change our attitudes to do the information that is presented to us. Maybe we find out that they're also a nurse, or maybe we find out that they're also studying upon you. This can influence our behaviour and change the way in which we see a member of that society, that group, influence the way in which we behave. Now, if I showed you these two pictures, line on the left-hand side, does it match A, B, or C? Does the line on the left-hand side match A, B, or C? Of course it does. Matches C, doesn't it? It's not difficult. It's not a trick question. However, in psychology, Solomon Asch did an experiment. Would an individual conform to the group? If every single one of you in here went, yeah, that matches A, doesn't match C, or matches A, would you change your thought process? Would you conform to what everybody else in the lecture theatre said? Well, the results of the experiment said that actually, yes, 80% of the individuals in this experiment conformed. They kept their own beliefs, their own thoughts about whether that line was the same or not to themselves, and they said what everybody else was saying, no matter what they felt. And we can see this video here. And you need some sound.
A volunteer is told that he's taking part in a visual perception test. What he doesn't know is that the other participants are actors, and he's the only person taking part in the real test, which is actually about group conformity.
The experiment you will be taking part in today involves the perception of line length. Your task will be simply to look at the line here on the left and indicate which of the 3 lines on the right is equal to it in length. So, for example,
the actors have been told to match the wrong lines. The volunteer will be monitored to see if he gives the correct answer or if he goes along with the opinion of the group and gives the wrong answer. In the first test, the correct answer is 2.
1. 1. 1. 2.
1. Once again, the correct answer is 2.
3. 3. 3. 3.
3.
The ASH experiment has been repeated many times and results have been supported again and again. We will conform to the group. Again, we're very social creatures. We're very much aware of what the people around us think. We want to be liked. We don't want to be seen to rock the boat, so we will go along with the group. Even if we don't believe what people are saying, we'll still go along.
1. 1. 1.
Group dynamics is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology.
1. 1.
Okay, group dynamics. Why we conform, why we comply, and why we obey. We can call it groupthink. The way in which we work together, we face problems together, and it's all about being part of that group and the way in which you conform to the view of the majority. It's usually about harmony of the group. You suppress your disagreements to believe what everybody else is believing, because you feel that the group's need for total agreement overwhelms your individual beliefs. Now, there are 7 particular symptoms of groupthink. One is this invulnerability. Within a group, one individual doesn't feel like they are particularly seen. So those guys who are talking at the back, you feel like, I can't see you because you're part of a group. I know exactly who it is, but because you're part of the group, you take risks. And within society, you can take bigger and bigger risks depending on what groups you belong to. Another symptom of groupthink is our rational thinking. Because this group has always done whatever it is in a particular way, they will continue to do it. If it's worked before, it will work again. We tend to rationalise. We've done it before, we'll do it again. Even though there might be some negative feedback and there's some warnings behind it, as a group, we will rationalise those away. Within groups, we sometimes ignore the ethical and the moral questions. Morality is a huge issue when it comes to thinking as a group. Usually individual ethics, their own beliefs, are suppressed to go with what is the majority of the group. And this leads nicely on to stereotypes. Groups will often stereotype. You think your group is better than other people's groups. You're more likely to create negative stereotypes with other people in other groups that are not necessarily true, but in order to make yourself and your group better than other people's. pressure in groups, don't we? We don't want to be the one person that stands out from our group, from the crowd. There's a lot of pressure enforced in the group to comply with what that group believes. Censorship. Yeah? We censor individuals' arguments, individuals' belief, in order to save the face of the group. And then lastly, unanimous. A group is often unanimous in what it believes. Regardless of individuals, it will stand true as a group. Even if somebody in that group isn't doesn't believe, they might have ethical questions, they still will be a supported front. And the individual will remain silent on particular issues and take the view of the entire group. So it is a unanimous front. And we'll just have a quick recap of those looking at this video.
Bots are the best, and you're very user-friendly. When you hear your friends make that statement, do you ever question it? Even though you disagree, you keep your mouth shut because you don't want to be an outcast. That's conformity. When conformity within a group leads to dangerous results, it's called groupthink. There are 8 symptoms of groupthink, which we can see on these 3 budding entrepreneurs. Dave, Frank, and Sylvia are planning to launch a startup which sells used tissues online. You and I, we both know that's the lamest idea ever. But sometimes things play out differently when group dynamics are involved. Here's a sneak peek. Dave says, we should start selling used tissues. No one has done that yet, and if anyone can do it, it has to be us. That's the illusion of invulnerability. Then Frank says, I know, right? No one is as smart as us to have thought about this killer concept. This is stereotyping others. Silently, Sylvia thinks, yes, because it's a stupid idea. But she doesn't say it, which is self-censorship. Then Dave says, Sylvia, you agree, right? You seem so excited. That's the illusion of unanimity. Sylvia finally says, used tissues, you guys? Seriously? What about the germs? Ew! But Dave counters, what germs? We are selling sentiments here. Used tissues have a history, and you gotta respect the sentimentality. That's unquestioned belief. Frank reassures. I'm sure Sylvia agrees that selling used tissues is a brilliant idea. She just doesn't know it yet. This is direct pressure. Sylvia shrugs, saying, yeah, I guess. Maybe we can launch Tissues for Issues and make it a noble cause specific project, which is rationalizing. We'll have to test it though. No tests. We are going to launch a Kickstarter campaign. We are going to be huge, says Dave. He's being a mind guard, which is a person who prevents dissent. And thus, the 3 fools launched a used tissue business. Now that you know the symptoms of groupthink, leave us a comment below and tell us if you have ever been a part of group.
Okay, so how many of you have been part of groupthink? Yeah, been persuaded to do something you didn't want to do, to believe in something you didn't want to do. Okay, I am just going to run an ed tool, and then you can have a break for 5 minutes. So if you could log on to L5914 and answer the question. And then once you finish the question, it will take 5 minutes. And then we're just going to talk a little bit about stereotypes. And then at the last few minutes, I want to talk about your reflective journals, and I'm going to open the discussion groups. Okay, so question was, suppose you are in trouble on a city street or in another public place. So you're being robbed or having a sudden fainting spell, you've blacked out. Do you think you are more likely to get help if there's one person around, several people around, dozens of people around, or hundreds of people around? The result actually is A. 17% of you. You are more likely to get help if there is only one other person around. So the correct answer is A. You are more likely to get help when there is one other person around. Now, have you personally ever seen somebody who needs help? Did you call the police? Or were there too many people around and you thought somebody else would do it? Individuals in groups. We call this diffusion of responsibility. If there are other people around, we think that they are more responsible than us, and we avoid taking action because we presume somebody else will. And we call this the bystander effect. The more people around us, the less likely it is that we will help. Now, this is London, outside one of the busy tube stations. Someone's lying on the floor.
Unknown to these passers-by, Peter is in
And
action.
people are just passing them by.
As part of an experiment on bystander apathy, he's pretending to be ill. How long before he gets help? Helping would be inconvenient or even risky. He lies there for more than 20 minutes and no one raises an eyebrow.
It's always very distressing to watch situations like this where people are obviously suffering and no one's actually helping them. But what we have here is two conflicting rules. One is the rule we ought to help, and the other is the rule that we ought to do what everybody else is doing. And here you have effectively a group of strangers who are exerting the pressure not to intervene, not to help. And it's very difficult to rebel.
Ruth, another actor, takes Peter's place. How long before she receives help? Four minutes later, and 34 people have passed without stopping.
But people don't really want to know. This hasn't got the time. Well, they have got the time, they just don't get involved.
Unwittingly, these strangers have silently formed a temporary group with a rule: don't get involved. They're afraid to stand out from the crowd and won't take action if no one else does. This woman has clearly spotted Ruth, but she conforms to the rule and does nothing. Watch what happens, though, when someone else helps.
Yes, thank you.
She suddenly finds herself in a different group with a new rule: to help.
I thought she was dead, but I saw check see if she was breathing or not. And I looked around and I couldn't believe that no one had noticed her because there was a bloke sat there just absorbed in reading a newspaper.
This time, Peter's dressed as a respectable gentleman. Now that his dress is in keeping with those around him, how long before he's rescued? 6 seconds. She even calls him sir, and suddenly everyone's a good Samaritan.
No.
Because he's part of the right group. Everyone wants to help.
conscious act to be in this position of feeling ill, and nobody else would have walked it past, so just like to check that it was okay.
But it's wet, so you must really think it'll be going to ruin the suit anyway.
Ladies like it.
So how many of you have been in that situation yourselves? Have you gone to help people? Being nurses, does it make you more inclined to help individuals? Yeah, because you're part of a helping group to start with. And this goes back to this individualisation within groups. You lose your own identity. You're more likely to talk when you're in a large room because you're not that individual person. You're invisible. And this is how mob violence works as well. Because people think they are invisible within that group. I can get away with doing anything I want to because no one can see me. You do not feel accountable for your actions. Everybody else is walking past. That's okay for them, so it's okay for me too. You conform to the norms of whatever group you are in. But what about altruism? Altruism, on the other hand, a far nicer thought about social behaviour is actually helping others. And altruism is a type of behaviour where you help others without any reward. It's a selfless act. Now, if it was a burning building and you were a mother and you ran in to save your child, people would expect that of you. If you were a stranger and you ran into a burning building to save a child that had nothing to do with you, no relation, that would be an act of selflessness. That is altruistic behaviour. You intervene and you help somebody for no apparent reward. But of course there are cultural influences on the way in which we behave in social situations to do with helping others. In Copenhagen, in Denmark, you're much kinder society. They're much more likely to help you than if you fell over on the street in New York. So depending on the society will depend on the altruistic behaviour, the selflessness of that individual. If you have an ally, if you are with another person, you might say to them, oh, should we go and help that individual? So you're not on your own. And also, if you're taking that first initial step, that entrapment again, you're more likely to go on to help because you've already put in some commitment. And the more commitment you put in, the more likely you are to help people. So just like the fear response, the amygdala in our brain, and if you have a smaller amygdala in your brain, you're more likely to have less of a fear response. There are certain areas in the brain that relate to this altruistic behaviour. The bigger the area of your brain, the more likely you are to help individuals. So there is a biological aspect to this as well. Okay, we're going to look at group identity and group conflict now, just very quickly before I open the discussion groups. So we talked a lot about obedience, conformity, compliance, and how that is influenced by the groups that we are in. Think about what social groups that you belong to. A poly-U, outside poly-U. What societies do you belong to? A drama group, a religious group, a political group, a sporting group. You're all going to be nurses, and within that you're already in a group. It helps us understand the world and see how we belong in it. It explains our behaviour. ethnicity as well helps identify who we are. I'm British. You guys, Chinese, Hong Kong born, some of you. Some of you will be from the mainland. Some of you might be from other parts of Asia. But we're proud to be part of our culture, our group, our ethnicity. And we accept the rules of those groups, those social norms of those groups, the values of those groups. It helps us to feel part of that society. It helps us to conform because we know what rules we should be following. So group identity. And this led to some research on us versus them, in groups versus out groups. How do groups lead to prejudice? How does groupthink lead to prejudice? Now this is some research that first looked at the differences between us and them, in groups and out groups, and the prejudice that forms because of what group we are in. Now this was just some research looking at schoolboys, and they had to guess the number of dots, very random. How many dots on this piece of paper? It didn't actually matter what their response was, they were just allocated to a group, those who overestimated and those who underestimated the number of dots that they were on this piece of paper. But the point of this research was that it gave you a group. You were either allocated to an underestimator or an overestimator. And because of the group you were allocated to, you then had to assign points to other boys. And the research found that they would assign more points to those who were in the same group as they were. And of course this is randomly allocated into overestimators and underestimators. But if you were in an overestimating group, you were allocating more points to those who were also in an overestimating group. It was all about prejudice. And it got psychologists to thinking about what happens when groups compete with each other. What happens with this us versus them? And a lot of research has been done about this. If we put groups against each other, if we make it into a competition, us versus them, there is a lot more prejudice in groups. You don't make friends between the groups, there's a lot more hostility in the groups. However, if you make the groups interact, if you provide them with information about each other, the cross-group friendships are employed and increased. So if you create a competition, if you create hostility, you're creating prejudice. If you give people information about the group, the other group, if you try and build friendships, you reduce the prejudice between the groups. Now, stereotypes. Stereotypes are a way in which we quickly deal with information. The easiest stereotype is boys and girls. And our stereotype of girls is they should wear nice pink frilly things and play with girly dolls. And our stereotypes of boys is they should wear blue and play with cars and trucks. Those are stereotypes that we hold. Sometimes stereotypes can be positive, and sometimes they can be negative or neutral. But it's a way in which it helps us organise and process information within our brains. And this can be fine and it can be good. But when we're looking at negative stereotypes, this can lead us to have certain types of prejudice. It can distort our reality. It can exaggerate differences between groups, differences between the in-group and the out-group. And this can lead to confirmation bias, which we've talked about before. We look for information to support our own views, our own beliefs. And then we underestimate the differences within the groups. So group conflicts, the formation of negative stereotypes, unreasonable dislikes, or even hatred between groups. Prejudices can be formed, and therefore we can change them. So the origins of prejudice, the causes, can be psychological. We inflate our own self-worth. Polly is brilliant, we're part of the group. We're better than everybody else. Because it increases our self-worth, our self-esteem. And we dislike other people. It's all to do with our insecurities. It could be a social cause of prejudice. You conform to your group's prejudice, your family, due to social pressures. It might be that your family makes you vote in a particular way or dress in a particular way. You conform to those ideas because of the beliefs and pressures of family. The prejudice can be formed because of economic causes. You can see what's going on in Europe at the moment with Brexit. What happens between the USA and China in its trade agreements. It's all about power. The biggest group wanting power over smaller groups, inferior groups. Could be to do culture. And of course, all of this dislike, this hatred, can lead to wars that cause a lot of prejudice between groups. Us versus them. We are better than you. So, how do we reduce this prejudice? Education, education, education. If you can work with groups, if you can socialise between groups, the contact hypothesis. The more contact you have with another group, the more understanding you have of this group, and it reduces the anxiety. If you can get friendships between groups, it benefits. There was some wonderful research looking at African students. Black African students, after making more white friends, their sense of belonging to that group, that satisfaction in university increased. You can break down barriers. If you can understand what it is that the other group does, if you can be less anxious about the other group, it reduces the prejudice. There was a meta-analysis of 515 studies looking at prejudice. And the ways in which we found to reduce the prejudice are all about intergroup contact. Enhancing knowledge about the out-group, reducing the anxiety about intergroup contact, and increasing empathy and perspective of that group reduces that anxiety. We understand the other group, we are less likely to have stereotypes about them and more likely to understand. Now, I'm not sure I've got this video. If you look at the crash course, it will give you some information on prejudice. I'm not sure it's going to work. Might do. I'll try and do it at the end.
People do horrible things, slave owners, Nazis, any of the perpetrators of history's atrocities. How do they so successfully dehumanize other people for so long? At a smaller scale, how do bullies in the lunchroom manage to treat other kids with such cruelty and then go home and pet their dog and call their grandma and say happy birthday? Most of what we've been studying so far has focused on the individual. We've covered subfields of psychology like cognitive, personality, and clinical psychology, which tend to address the phenomena contained within a single person's mind. But there's also social psychology, which focuses on the power of the situation. It examines how we think about, influence, and relate to one another in certain conditions, and it's better equipped to answer this question about people doing horrible things. Social psychology can not only give us some of the tools we need to understand why people behave brutally, it can also help us understand why we sometimes act heroically. Like, why did Jean Valjean reveal his true identity to save some stranger from being tried in his place? Why did Nazi Oskar Schindler risk his own hide to save over 1,000 Jewish people? What made Darth Vader throw the Emperor down that hole, even as he was being electrocuted? I can't say there are any easy answers about either humanity's greatness or its horribleness. Certainly, there aren't any that we can find in the next 10 minutes. But we can point ourselves in the right direction, and it starts with social thinking.
Okay, if any of you are interested in the rest of that video on social thinking, it's under the crash course for psychology. I thought that was the one on prejudice, but it's not. Okay. So we're going to go over the unit summary. Social psychology is all about behaviour, mental processes, and the influence of others or social environments, either imagined or implied. Obedience is all about influence of our behaviour from authority figures. The effect and the constraints of obedience was vividly illustrated in the Milgram study. That's something you'll need to know about your MCQ. We form attributions to make sense of our own behaviour, but also the behaviour of others. In making attributions, we often bias our own social cognitions. Attitudes are our beliefs about groups or individuals, and they prepare us for processing and decision making. It's multifaceted and subjected to changes through persuasion and also that cognitive dissonance. Conformity is all about social influence with explicit instructions, illustrated in the Solomon Asch study on the lines. We conform in order to fit into our group. Group identity is established in a really short span, and it has a strong influence on our own perceptions of ourselves and of how we behave. Group conflict is all about prejudice, assessed with implicit methods and minimised with contact between the two different groups. Now, I'm just going to quickly go to implicit attitudes. Now, this I have put on Blackboard. Implicit attitudes are what we are not aware of. If you are interested, I'm not going to ask you to do it now, it takes a while, we'll do it in a minute. If you're interested in knowing your implicit attitudes to all sorts of things, race, height, size, obesity, all sorts of different things, go onto this website and have a look. It's really quite interesting. What I want to show you now, though, is your discussion groups. Now, remember, 100 of you have already submitted your reflective journals. Well done. I and a team of markers will be marking those in the next couple of weeks. There's about 60 of you who still have to submit, so please do that by 11:59 tonight. Do remember that your practice quizzes should be done after every lecture. Now, these do contribute to that 14% of the in-class and online marks. I noticed that still about 50 of you haven't done the quiz from memory, so please do that. The one from memory is worth 2% of this course, so well worth doing. Now, all of you, bar 4 of you, signed up for the group online discussions. I'm going to open them now and run through what you were supposed to do. 4 of you, I don't know if you're here or not, didn't complete the questionnaire, therefore I have put you into a group. What I want you to do now is make sure, once I open the discussions, that you are part of the group and that you can understand how to get onto the group discussions. You have a few weeks in which to do your online discussion as a group. The information is all on Blackboard, but I will run through it now for you. You have until 11:59 p.m. on the 12th of April in order to do between 4 and 6 different postings. So I'm going to show you how to log on to that now. Okay, I'm just going to open this up. Okay, if you go onto Blackboard, you should be able to navigate your way down the left-hand side. Now, for those of you who haven't submitted your reflective journals, you should be able to see the link and upload your reflective journals here. All the information on the group forum discussions is on the left-hand side. You'll get the rubrics, read it. The forum discussion guidelines, read it. You can't see the sign up because I have made that hidden from you guys. There is a video on how to access the discussion groups. And I will play that for you in just a second. But if you go down to groups on the left-hand side, I can see all of them. You should just be able to see one group, the group that you have been allocated. If you cannot see that group, you need to come and see me after the lecture. So this is the video on how to access the groups. I'm just going to